I'm Dan at vintagevelo.org, and today we are back in the workshop and we are taking a look at this rather cool vintage bike which we're going to be rebuilding. It's a late 70s Zeus 2000, or Zeus 2000 if you're Spanish, because Zeus are or were a Spanish firm, and they set themselves a serious task back in the 70s of building a better in-house frame than Colnago and a better complete group set than Campagnolo, which is a seriously big ask. These are meant to be really, really good bikes. How good? I don't know. Until I get it out there all finished and riding, I can't say, but I will be comparing it directly with the Colnago Super that we rode last year. And in fact, this is fairly much a reasonable copy of. It's fair to say that Zeus did copy most of their design for their group sets from Campagnolo, although it's a lot of copy work. They were the first to really pioneer the use of titanium in the group sets and parts to make it lighter, and they also in-house did an awful lot of drilled out work. Now this doesn't have titanium parts on it, this is an earlier 2000, the later ones had that. And in fact the group sets on here, this is a complete 2000 group set. However, they did a lot of continuation in their model, in their group sets. So a lot of this are simply the previous lot, the previous group set, then just carried over with a few bits redesigned. A bit like the Zeus seat post here. It's the previous seat post. They just fluted it and then called it the 2000. So it's very much a continuation group set as they changed it almost year by year during production. But the frame itself is a nice early Zeus frame, including the rare Zeus dropout. So they were making pretty much everything for this frame set in-house, including the forks and the lugs as well. Everything was being made in-house by Zeus at that point. Now, this particular example has been through our old friend, the 1980s refurb. It's gone back to metal by the looks of it. It's been repainted badly in black. We've got some braze-on additions that will have to come off. And there's some rust starting to come through, or quite a bit of rust actually, surface rust poking through the paint that was applied. And obviously we've got this black and gold thing going on. And I kind of like it, to be fair. I like the black and gold. It's a bit like JPS Formula 1 cars back in the day. So, I think the plan with this one, we're going to strip it apart completely, see what's seized, fix up what needs fixing, replace all the consumables, and then the frame is going to go back to bare metal. I'm going to get rid of the braze-ons that shouldn't be on there, and then I'm going to go with like a smoked gold and black paint job. Now by that what I mean, I'm going to put a gold base on there, and then I'm going to use like a black lacquer, tinted lacquer over the top. A bit like, and it's not as crazy as it sounds, a bit like Chromo Velato back in the day, which was a tinted lacquer over the top of chrome, or as we all know with Legnano, their lizard green, their signature colour, was in fact a silver paint with a greeny yellow lacquer over the top of that. So it's not that out there, but the idea would be when you look straight on, we should see gold, and then in the peripherals it should fade to black. And be nice and shiny. At least that's the plan. I've never done that kind of paint job before, so we'll have a go at that. Also got to sort out these forks. The chrome on there has died. That's going to be an interesting video in itself to really see how they come back together. Overall, we're going to stick with the black and the gold theme. Obviously change all of this kind of stuff, but I think it's going to be quite a cool looking bike. And also that rear cassette will be changed. Interestingly, Zeus, in their weight saving, did actually develop an aluminium rear cassette with rear sprockets made out of aluminium, and yeah, they shred really quite easily. Apparently a really good out of the saddle effort can often leave you with no teeth left on the sprocket. So it's fair to say I'm probably not going to go for an original one of them, but something a little bit less straight cut will be on there. But anyway, enough talking, let's start getting this thing apart. Crikey. Well, it's moving. I think we can call that the definition of a manky cable. Well, here we have the rather nice Zeus centre pull brakes. Yeah, they do look very Mafac-like, but I'm sure they didn't just copy that. But wow, just check out. I mean, every little nut, bolt, everything is all marked up with Zeus. Yeah, well, someone went for it with a Panto. Yeah, and here's our old friend, the 13 to 19 straight cut cassette. Despite period accuracy, I think we can do a little bit better than that. So there we go. We now have ourselves a bare Zeus 2000 frame. I had to do the final part of disassembly on the floor because we had loose bearings in the headset and loose bearings in the bottom bracket. But in the disassembly, we did find a few titanium parts, which Zeus is famous for pioneering. Now, in the rear derailleur here, let's bring that in close. You can see the machining work here, all the impressive drillium here on the rear derailleur. Look at this, the mount, the bolt mount there. That is really quite impressive. It's made of titanium, it's hollow, it's been wasted and machined. It weighs very, very little. How this translates overall to the weight of this, I'm not entirely certain. But it'll be interesting to find out at the end. What is very light is this, rather impressive. It's a titanium Zeus bottom bracket spindle. It's beautifully machined. The races are actually separate from the main body, and it's hollow all the way through. So obviously Shimano weren't the first to pioneer hollow bottom brackets, yeah, it's really light. I looked this up. These weigh just over 100 grams. I mean, crikey, that's impressive stuff. How that translates overall to the build, I'm not entirely certain, but we'll find out at the end. We also have our very, very nice crank here. Lots of the factory drill work, as mentioned before. I am going to take these rings off and get them black anodized. That's what they did a lot in period. It does look really cool, especially with the black and gold theme. If I don't like it, I can always get it stripped afterwards, but that's the plan with those. But overall, it hasn't thrown up any surprises or problems. So the next stage is dealing with this frame, and that is going to be a full paint. So that's the Zeus 2000 frame back to bare metal. We can see what we are dealing with. Most of it has come up really nice. Always lovely when you're working with bare metal. You can really see the quality of the craftsman who worked on them and how good the brazing is. A lot of the time on the lugs here, you know, you've got nice little cutouts and details. Although it looks fancy, really it's there so as the brazier can see the braze flowing nicely as he's doing the joint work. And this one's really pretty good, so I am happy. The rust we had underneath that paint was surface rust as expected, but quite a few rust spiders along here. So first thing I'll be doing is treating all of that area with some rust converter to stop that happening anymore. And then we're going to get on with the paint. As mentioned before, I'll be using a pre-mixed aerosols. These are custom mixed for us. They are done at an automotive shop, so they're from an automotive paint shop. They're not off the shelf stuff. What they do is they mix the colors for you. They mix it down and then they put it in the cans and pressurize it, so it's exactly the same as painting with professional car paints, 2Ks and things like that, except they are in pressurized cans. Saves a lot of mess and faffing around, but you are still working with a really durable product. Of note, this paint really didn't want to come off. The black was very solid, even though it was chipping off in places. Where it was bonded, it was very strong, and it was originally a white frame. Yeah, that also didn't want to come off. Mostly, I think because modern paint stripping products, especially here in the UK, are nowhere near as powerful as they used to be only like 10, 15 years ago. So now they're very much watered down. No doubt, very good for the environment, no bad thing there. They just don't work very well. So had to do a lot of this the hard way on the wheel, but hey, got it back to bare metal now. Let's get some paint on there. What we'll be doing, we're going to do 2 coats of etch primer on here and then 1 coat of colour, which will be gold as the base colour. I'll leave that to dry for about an hour and then I'm going to flat it back, another 2 coats of gold, and then we're going to play around with black lacquer, basically candy black. So what I'm hoping is that we will see a bit of the gold underneath, but it will be mostly black on the lacquer. I haven't used candies before. I've used a lot of pearls, but not candies, so it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. But let's get on with killing this rust, cleaning it, and then getting it ready for the paint. After one final degrease, that's ready to paint. As ever, fresh filters in the proper mask. No messing around with little paper cut masks or anything like that when you're using professional paints. Doors, windows open, plenty of ventilation, and for once, some good light as well. So let's get on. So our Zeus frame has now had a couple of weeks to harden off and breathe a bit before we put the decals on. To be fair, the candy black lacquer that I put on here is more black than candy. It looks pretty cool, but I thought I'd see a little bit more gold. But then again, I'm not outside in the direct sunlight yet, so probably see it then. But it does look pretty awesome. So we're going to go ahead, get the decals on there now, and then on with some clear coat. So with the decals on, we move on to the final coat of clear coat lacquer. As you know, I do like to use a proper 2K clear coat. Now, you can tell a real deal 2K, you've got the little ring pull at the bottom there that you pull out, twist through 360 degrees, and that releases the hardener inside the can. Give it a good shake, and then you can spray. One thing of note when you're using one of these, it gives a really hard glossy finish, which is great. It's just what we're looking for, but these will go off inside the can, so you can only really use it for a few hours. Next day, no good. So get your coats on roughly half an hour in between. 2 coats, 3 coats will be absolutely fine. But do remember, horrible stuff. So mask on, doors and windows open. So I'm about to do the last clear coat now. To be fair, the 2K lacquer has gone on beautifully. It's come out really, really deep and shiny, so I am very, very happy. I'm going to leave this for a few weeks now. In a perfect world, 6 months to a year is about what you want to leave this before you want to build these up, unless you're putting them in a low bake oven. But a few weeks will do the job nicely. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. The next one should be the build up of this very bike. There'll also be a little bonus one on how to restore chrome forks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and do like and subscribe for more awesome videos on vintage bikes. Thanks a lot.